Howdy folks, once again this is Antique Arms Almanac or on gunpost.ca. I'm Calgary Vetterly. We're looking at another suicide special type revolver here, and this is the Lee Arms Red Jacket number 4. And I believe there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm not aware of a 5. This is the last of the Red Jacket firearms type named guns. You know, we're not talking about Will Hayden, you know, let's not get into that. Anyways, this is a pretty standard fare, 5-shot spur trigger revolver, usually nickel finish, single action only, 32 rimfire. I mean, it kind of checks the box. This is very much a suicide special type gun. And yeah, this one's in pretty decent shape. We'll get into it here, but there it says the name, Red Jacket number 4, the Lee Arms Company, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Yep. Yeah, Lee Arms existed from, I believe, 1877 until 1889 when they closed their doors. And this, because it's a number 4, was probably made in the late 1880s, or 1880s circa. You know, the other ones were kind of made late 1870s, early 1880s. And then with this being the number 4, the last iteration, we're definitely talking mid to late 1880s. Ugh, tongue twisters. And so this particular example is in, I would consider, good condition for an antique. The grips, I would say, are in like perfect condition. They're in like excellent shape. This is gutta percha or hard rubber. It's got this really fine square top type checkering, kind of like reminiscent of a lot of English type guns. And yeah, they're just in perfect shape. This is usually where they chip down here, and the gun's in good condition. Lots of nickel on the back strap and the grip. You don't really see the pitting until you get to where the black powder was firing, and you can see the pitting on the frame, and there's a lot of nickel loss on this side of the cylinder, but the other side does look a bit better in terms of nickel, but again, there's pitting. Nothing to really lose your mind over, but the mechanics of this particular example, just gotta make sure we're indexed properly. There we go. Are great. This gun is really tight and solid. Indexing is good, times properly, and the safety notch works, which is also how you could load it. Boop, 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 boop. So I'll have a look at the inside here. Kind of what distinguishes the Lee Arms. A lot of these guns are very similar mechanically. Usually what distinguishes a lot of them is the cylinder pin retention system. This one is, as you can see, 2 screws here. There's a little spring in there, a little coil spring. Just push in and then pull out on this cylinder pin, which I must say is actually in pretty good shape, considering a lot of these get like vise and plier marks in them. So the pin comes out. There's our cylinder. Now look at this. So you can see there's no nickel to be really heard of on the front there. That's our serial number there on the front. 22300, I believe, or 3002. I don't know what order this is. And then we have the back of the cylinder, which is in like pretty good condition. There's like all the nickel still there, and the teeth are nice and sharp and not deformed. That's why this gun indexes so well. Chambers are actually in good shape, as you can see, kind of the reflection in them. They're pretty shiny. And there's a little bit of schmutz in them, and some minor pitting in the chambers, especially near the muzzle end here of them. As you can see, perfectly fine, in my opinion, to shoot. The barrel is a little bit worse for wear in comparison with the actual chambers. I would consider this barrel, you could say worn. It's worn, there's pitting. It's still shootable. Will it spin a bullet? I think so. Probably yes. You're not going to win any matches, you know, target shooting matches with this gun. You only have 3 inches of barrel. You're shooting black powder 32 rimfire with no velocity and a worn bore. But other than that, I mean, this gun is pretty tight. Mechanics are good. You know, there's our hand, and there's our cylinder. It just actuates on this little flat spring that's pinned in here. This is a pretty solid little gun. I would shoot this gun personally. I think it's a decent little pistol. You know, a lot of these pistols are kind of distinguishable by what they have here. Some of these have a removable plate. Some of these it's solid. Some of they have this little circle here. And this is actually right here. It's just the bottom of this screw is with the axis pin for the hammer, which even has a little bit of case hardening on it still. So, yeah, that's the Lee Arms Red Jacket number 4. I'll just put it back together here, and I'll say adieu. So there goes our cylinder. Reinsert our pin. Push this button in here. Make sure our cylinder is lined up as well. It's kind of tricky sometimes on some of these. Come on, line up. Oh, that's what happens when you're trying to do something in front of a camera. You always end up buggering something up. There she goes. Because you got to get everything lined up properly, just like that. It's funny, if I was not doing this in front of the camera, this would have went in full first time, no problem. But as soon as you put yourself with an audience, function test. There she goes. She's done. See you next time.